Hey church, I hope you're well. Hey, listen, question for you. How many of you have ever driven outside of the great state of Florida? Maybe took a road trip with family, gone to see the mountains, or traveled up the east coast of the United States. Maybe even went all the way to the west coast, which would be quite a hike as well. And my guess is that probably the majority of you have taken a road trip out of Florida. And if you have, on your return trip, you would likely have gone through a small town called Jennings, Florida. And Jennings, Florida is right on the Georgia-Florida state line. And in fact, as you cross over into Florida on I-75 South, there are these massive palm trees on either side, and there's this big, amazing welcome center that tells you all the great things you get to do in Florida. And gosh, we hope you spend lots of money and have a great time and that sort of thing. But the palm trees are really fascinating because it welcomes you, through this glorious path, so to speak, into the Sunshine State. And when we think of palm trees, we think of sort of this coastal paradise, right? Like being on the beach with the sunshine and maybe a cold drink in your hand, or sand between your toes. We have this kind of imagery when we see palm trees. Yet in Jennings, Florida, it's actually a really small town, population of less than 1,000, not really the hallmark of tourism in the Sunshine State, and yet we have these palm trees that are representing an image of something that's not represented in that location, if you get what I'm saying, right? And in the Gospels, Jesus sends this incredible rebuke toward the Pharisees. He says, and he's referencing their hypocrisy, and he says, "You are like whitewashed tombs." And what he means by that is, on your exterior, you are presenting yourself as holy and righteous and good and godly, but really your motivation for doing these things, for holding your head up high, is to elevate yourself, not to point people to God. So it's all very self-motivating, self-generating for the Pharisees. Yet really on the inside, there's some darkness, there's some sin, there's some evil that really has to be dealt with, right? So Jesus is really calling them out at this point in Scripture, and it reminds me, gosh, of sometimes as Christians, don't we try to present this image of something that is holy, righteous, and good, and unselfish, and sinless to a degree? Like, don't we try to present this image to everyone else when really, man, we are thirsty for forgiveness on the inside. We're dealing with some really heavy stuff on the inside. We're dealing with some sin that we've been trapped in for a very long time. Yet on the outside, we're trying to uphold this image of something that is good and right and pure when we are just dying on the inside. And you know what? I think the truth is that when we experience the redemptive work of Christ on a daily basis, there's this interesting change where God exposes our sin to Him, where we're able to receive forgiveness, and instead of trying to create this manufactured image of what we think others think is good and right and pure, instead we present this image of the living God that is good for us, that is encouraging for us, and also honoring to God. So I would just offer that to you, that, man, let's stop trying to put up these images of that which we think the world would view as pure and righteous and good, and let's lean into God, beg for His forgiveness for sin, and allow His image to be demonstrated and portrayed in our lives.